today we live in a world where we believe Christ died for everybody, right? Ain't that what they teach in the Christian church? That Christ is for everybody? That he's for the heathens? That he's for you smoking weed? That he's for you getting dreadlocks? That he's for you doing yoga? He's for you going to Buddhism, Islam? Right? Read that again. He came for who?
For he shall save his people.
Blacks, Hispanics, and Native American man, woman, and child. He came for you.
I.S.U.P.K.
Shalom, Riley. We are the I.S.U.P.K, started on 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commander General YAHANNA, and we are not affiliated with any other Hebrew, Israelite group, or Christian church, you hear me? And today I'm going to talk to my people about who Jesus Christ, or who you would call Jesus Christ, died for, right? Let me get Matthew chapter 1, verse 21, right? Read.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 1 and verse 21.
Right? This is going to talk about Mary, right? Giving birth to Christ, right? Read.
And she shall bring forth a son, and thou shalt call his name Jesus.
Right? This is talking about Mary bringing forth a son. And that son's name was Jesus. Christ, right? Read.
For he shall save his people.
For he shall save who?
His people.
See, today we live in a world where we believe Christ died for everybody. Right? Ain't that what they teach in the Christian church? That Christ is for everybody? That he's for the heathens? That he's for you smoking weed? That he's for you getting dreadlocks? That he's for you doing yoga? He's for you going to Buddhism, Islam? Right? Read that again. He came for who?
For he shall save his people.
Blacks, Hispanics, and Native American man, woman, and child. He came for you.
That's right.
He ain't come from nobody else. So this Christian church is leading you astray. He ain't come for no other people. Read that again.
Go with kind. And she shall bring forth a son, and thou shalt call his name Jesus. For he shall save his people.
He shall save his people. Possessive.
That's right.
They belong to him.
Right.
Israel. Right? Let me get Matthew chapter 10, verse 5. Right? We're going to get through 7 too. Right? When you got there, you see, our people, we are taught that God and Christ, we supposed to love everybody. We're all equal, but that he came to save everybody. But who really needs saving? Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Who they need saving from? The culture of America, right? Christianity. Whose babies is on the borders in cages? I don't see the Jewish man baby on the borders of Mexico. I don't see the overpopulation of Esau's men in the jails like blacks, Hispanics.
Right.
So who really needs to be saved? Read that for me.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 10 and verse 5.
Right.
These 12 Jesus sent forth, and commanded them, saying, Go not into the way of the Gentiles.
Right? They said, who said that?
Jesus.
Jesus said this, right? This ain't coming from me. This ain't coming from I.S.U.P.K. This is coming from Christ. Christ said it. Christ said it in his own words who he came for. What he said?
Go not into the way of the Gentile.
Go not into the way of the Gentile. You know what a Gentile is? When he's speaking right here, The Gentile is a people that is not of Israel.
That's right.
They are not a part of the 12 tribes of Israel.
Right.
They are not black, they are not Hispanic, and they are not Native American. They are not our West Indian brothers on the islands. No, they are people who actually need saving, right? They are the bottom of America. They will be considered the bottom of America today, right? They are the heathens, the hidden ones, right? Read.
Go not into the way of the Gentiles, and into any city of the Samaritans enter ye not. Verse 6, but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Verse 7, and as ye go, preach, saying, the kingdom of heaven is at hand.
Right? This cuts to all your Christian pastors that you gotta die to go to heaven. This cuts all your Christian pastors that Christ loved everybody. This cuts all the beliefs of Buddhism that everybody should love each other, that the whole world, this cuts the whole ideology of America. Ain't that what it's supposed to be, a melting pot? Well, Christ was totally against that. Christ didn't want his flavors mixing in like that.
That's right.
He didn't want blacks, Hispanics, flavorful tastes inside of America. He was totally against that. Read that again.
Khan is the book of Matthew, chapter 10 and verse 5. These 12 Jesus sent forth and commanded them, saying, go not into the way of the Gentiles.
And this is Christ giving a commandment to his disciples. He's commanding these brothers to not go into the way of Esau, not go into the way of Moab, not go into the way of the goddamn Arabs. He's not telling them to go there. He's telling them to go where?
Go not into the way of the Gentiles, and into any city of the Samaritans enter ye not, but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
He said go to the ghettos, man.
That's right.
He said go to the barrios.
Right.
He said go to all the ghettos where all my brothers, black, Hispanic, and Native American reside. I don't care if it's dangerous. That's our people. We need to go save them.
Right.
I ain't worried about who's living in the penthouse right now. I ain't worried about none of them. I'm worried about my brothers that's living on the street. Right. My brothers that's fighting that addiction. My brothers that's fighting that addiction to Christianity. That's who he worried about. Right? Let me get the rest of that.
Khan, verse 7. And as ye go, preach, saying, the kingdom of heaven is at hand.
Right? And he's saying the kingdom of heaven is at hand. He's saying blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are coming. There's going to be a time where we come together and we're going to create kingdom of heaven on earth. It's not in the sky when you go to when you die. It's not whatever the Christian pastor told you. Right? Let me get that. Let me get Matthew 15 and 24. Right? We're taught a lie. Christ did not die for everybody. He did not go through suffering so you could smoke weed. Right. He didn't go through suffering so you can serve under Bill Gates. He didn't go through suffering so you can serve Elon Musk. He didn't go through suffering so blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans could sit in the state they are in today. He didn't die for that. He didn't die for that. Read.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 15 and verse 24. But he answered and said, I am not sent, but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
This is Christ again speaking. How many times Christ must have knew his people were going to be confused on who they think he died for. If he's saying it several times, this is the New Testament, am I correct? Matthew, this is the New Testament. This is Christ. I thought your Christian pastor said he loved everybody. Then why is Christ saying otherwise? You feel me? As blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, we need to come out from America and their beliefs. Because it ain't doing nothing for us that's conducive to our health, our mental state, our nothing. Right. You smoking that weed is not going to end your suffering, brother.
That's right.
All it's doing is making you more anxious, if you think it's going to solve your anxiety, more depressed.
That's right.
Right? You ever figured that you smoking all this weed and it's not curing you?
Right.
It's not. I don't know why. That's the only excuse you'll hear for smoking weed. Recreational. Why is it recreational? Because I'm depressed. Why are you depressed? I don't know. Because you smoking all that goddamn weed. You smoking all the goddamn weed. How about you come to the I.S.U.P.K, put on all black, and hear the truth about yourself. That's what blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans need. This is what your Christian pastor won't give you. He won't tell you that Christ died for you. He's gonna tell you Christ died for everybody. He won't tell you Christ loved only you. He won't tell you that, right? Let me get Matthew's, Salaki, give me John 4:22, right? Read.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 4 and verse 22. Ye worship, ye know not what.
This is I can cut this in with dreads, right? Ye worship and ye not know what. Half of you don't even know dreads is a worship of another god. Right. Half of you don't know that. Y'all don't know how the Indian people over there, they would get dreads and smoke weed and get into these different poses to worship this god named Shiva. Right. And smoke this weed. Where do you think Rastafarian comes from? It's a derivative of Hinduism. And what do they say about weed? It's supposed to stimulate your mind. Come on, Craig. You ever wonder why weed? You always just stuck on the couch, you just want to eat all day? And you wonder why it's flooding the black community. It's clouding your mind, man. You can't even think straight when you're on that stuff. Right. You know what? You can't see when you on that stuff. You can't recognize your enemy. You can't recognize your brother from your enemy. You shooting your brother over something so simple, but you'll forgive Esau for killing your child. Right. Come on, man. Right. I done seen it too much. Let me get that.
Ye worship, ye know not what. We know what we worship, for salvation is of the Jew.
For of the who?
Of the Jew.
For of the who?
Of the Jew.
You see? Blacks, Hispanics, Native American, man, woman, and child. Salvation is for you. It's not for the man that owns the Diamond District. It's not for the man that runs Chinatown. It's not for none of them. It's for blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. We the ones that need saving. We need salvation. You ever thought about when was the last time you had a break? Blacks, Hispanic, that's your issues. Those are your issues. What can Esau say? Esau is not the Jew of this Bible. They're not the true Jews. They are not Israel like you, black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man.
That's right.
Read.
Kamakan. Ye worship, ye know not what. We know what we worship, for salvation is of the Jews.
It's saying we know what we worship. We know who we worship. Because the salvation is only for the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Because here in the I.S.U.P.K, we know who we worship. Outside of this, y'all don't know what the hell going on. Y'all believe in Esau Christ. Y'all believe in some fat looking statue guy that's supposed to be in a yoga pose. Y'all believe in this rock over in Islam. You don't know what you believe in. You believe in the Trinity. Right. Well, we don't know what we believe in as a people. You feel me? But here in the I.S.U.P.K, we'll teach you who the true God is. We'll teach you who the true power is. Right? Let me get Acts chapter 5 verse 30.
This is the book of Acts chapter 5 and verse 30. The God of our fathers.
The God of whose fathers?
Our fathers.
That's Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
That's right.
That's the fathers of Israel, if you ain't know who that was. You feel me? Ain't the father of Esau, right? Read.
The God of our fathers raised up Jesus.
Raised up Jesus. You know what that means? He put the breath of life in Jesus, right? He gave Christ what he needed to do. He gave our king instruction on how to lead his people, on what to do on this earth, right? Read.
Whom ye slew and hanged on a tree.
Don't that sound familiar? Who else they be slaying and hanging on trees? Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. What was in Mattil? Right? What was in Mattil? Read.
Verse 31. Him hath God exalted.
Him hath God exalted. That's who God exalted to be who?
With his right hand, to be a prince and a savior.
To be a prince. So that means if we just said that Christ only came for Jews, Israel, and he's the prince and the right hand of God, And he belongs to who? Israel? So you start thinking highly of yourself, Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man? Don't you think that weed is not even worth your time? That Esau woman is not worth your time? America in general isn't worth your time because you're too special for this place. You're too special for America, Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man. They are not on the same level as you, so stop. We need to stop belittling ourselves to their level. That pork, shrimp, and crab and lobster is not what royalty eats. That is not what chosen people do. That is not what you put in your body. Weed is not what you put in your body. And you don't use it for your so-called depression. You don't use it for our anxiety. We know what we use over here? We use brotherhood. We use brotherhood to get over our depression. If I'm feeling down or I have no understanding on what's going on in my life, you know how I'm gonna call my brother to the left or right of me right now.
That's right.
That's what Christ taught on this earth. He didn't teach you to go to some oppressor to get your knowledge. He ain't teach you to get your love from some oppressor and crave it and become a junkie. Just think about it. Every time you want to go, what Joe Biden did, he put crack pipes for you. He put what, a couple billion in crack pipes. That's what an oppressor does when you look for love from that man. When you look for answers from an oppressor, his answer is more depression, more dope. Your answers won't be found in America. Your answers will be found in the I.S.U.P.K, the home of the truth.
We want